In this chapter, we'll take a brief survey of the different data visualization options PowerPoint has to offer, and we'll consider some of the software's pros and cons. Now, outside more dedicated data charting software, PowerPoint is probably one of the most widely distributed and most used. It offers a whole lot of preset graph types, and for the most part, they automatically configure your data into well-made charts. You have your more basic column and line charts in the top over here, followed by more robust volume and surface-related ones down here. In each category, we also have variations of the types. We have the most basic ones, followed by, for example, 3D variations. If you've followed along so far, you'll know that the design approach we recommend is a minimalistic one. There are generally very few reasons to be using these since they don't really contribute to communicating your data. If you really did need that extra dimension to convey a third data variable, you'd be using volume, surface, or other types of graphs. If your reason is to engage a boardroom, you would be focusing on your speech since the bells and whistles on screen usually end up distracting your viewers and audience instead. And if this chart is for an editorial, you'd want to be customizing your figures in ways that aren't achievable in PowerPoint. So for all these reasons, I prefer the basics. Having selected your chart type, unless you were working with data directly on the slide, Microsoft will open up an Excel sheet where you can import or enter your data. The information entered here will reflect back onto your PowerPoint slide. In the workbar up top, we have all our chart elements and style presets. First, we have the option of adding chart elements such as legends, error bars, and other things. We then have a variety of layout presets, and these will rearrange the way the columns are spaced, the way the axis labels are positioned, and, in general, how the chart itself is framed. Next, let's jump to this large windowed area in the center. These affect layout somewhat, but this section mainly provides us with stylistic options such as outlining, component and background colors, fills, and textures. Having selected these, you can then still go back into the Layout drop-down to the left to affect the layout with your new stylistic preset in place. If you want to change the color combination of your piece, we have this third drop-down from the left. For the most part, PowerPoint provides us with some nice tried-and-true options, especially if you're at a loss as to what you want or prefer. Generally, these combinations will look pleasing to the eye, and they will generally read well on screen if you're sticking with other PowerPoint templates. Just keep in mind though, as we explained in the chapter for the design element of color, there are occasions where monochromatic might be better than these colorful combinations, and there may be occasions where you need specific ones as well. If that's the case, you can go in and select your columns to change them. One click will select all the similar colored columns. 2 clicks, and you can select individual data points. And this is true for most of the components you see on screen. So, for whatever reason, if you need to change the color of this specific column, you can do so on the right panel over here. In the first tab, we can change its color. Right now, it is set to automatic, but we can easily choose an image, a texture, or a solid fill. Below, we have another variety of options that will affect the way the columns appear. This second tab offers us some other effects that sit outside the column shape itself. So we're talking about drop shadows, glows, and other overlaid style effects. In our last tab, we have the ability to change the way that the data of these columns are being interpreted. For this type of graph, we are mainly talking about the axes, but you will find other options for other chart types. If you need a further overhaul of the way PowerPoint is converting your data into the chart, let's redirect our attention to the workbar up top and look at these buttons on the right. Here, you can switch the axes, or you can do the same in this Custom Select Data window. Or you can head back over to Excel to edit your data there. At the very end, you can also change your chart type altogether. For most people using PowerPoint, the intention is to publish these graphs directly onto PowerPoint slides. You can, however, head up to File and change the page settings. and this will allow you to set dimensions for other formats and for print. So having changed the page format, we can now go back into File, Export, and define the dimensions and the file type we want to export. The downside with using PowerPoint really has to do with the way PowerPoint handles the way we as users interact with the graphs and graphical components on the page. We can really only affect the appearance of a component by selecting it and manipulating its parameters in the Right Tool panel. Unlike more dedicated design software, such as those from Adobe, you cannot go in and manipulate the size or position of many components simply by clicking and dragging. Those you can affect are related to layout. So here, as you can see, we can increase the size of the graph area and move the position of the legend. To be a little more precise, we do have rulers and some alignment options. However, you still have to eyeball it most of the time, and for many so-called intra-chart components, the alignment tools are disabled. It only works when you're trying to align charts against, let's say, text boxes, shapes, and other extra chart objects. For all these reasons, PowerPoint is a great tool if you need to create simple, clean, and functional graphs. Generally, you'll want to be keeping everything in PowerPoint, but it does provide you with options to export your graphics for use elsewhere. If you're looking to create something more customized, or if you want more control and precision, however, then you'll want to consider more dedicated design software.